Hello my dear children, hope you are doing good. So today in this video we'll be dealing with the third unit of your English literature, So What Are You Anyway, written by Lawrence Hill. Children, Lawrence Hill is a Canadian novelist, essayist, journalist, educator, documentary writer and memorist. Memorist is a person who has a remarkable memory, who was born in 1957 in Newmarket, Ontario. He is the son of American immigrants, a black father and a white mother. He decided to become a writer in a very young age, and he wrote his first story on his mother's L.C. Smith typewriter at the age of 14. It was a bad story and a good beginning. Hill is the author of 10 books of fiction and non-fiction. He won his first literary honor, that was a National Magazine Award for the article Is Africa's Pain Black America's Burden, published in the Walrus. His The Book of Negroes won several awards, and his Blood, the Stuff of Life won the Hamilton Literary Award for non-fiction. So students, let's know what the story is about in a nutshell. So What Are You Anyway is a short story written by Lawrence Hill on the theme of racism. So what is racism? Racism takes many forms and can happen in many places. It includes prejudice, discrimination, or hatred directed at someone because of their color, ethnicity, or national origin. People often associate racism with acts of abuse or harassment. However, it doesn't need to involve violence or intimidating behavior. It may take racial name calling or jokes. It can be revealed through people's action as well as their attitudes. The story begins with a young little girl of the age of around 11 or 12 named Carol. She is alone by herself, relaxing in her seat A12 on the way to see her grandparents. She is a mixed child, and that initiates trouble with the passengers that she sits next to. They are a married white couple. The couple keeps questioning the young girl about the color of her parents, which makes Carol incredibly frustrated and annoyed because she wants to be left alone without questions being asked. Carol, being an innocent child, doesn't understand the concept of race. They continue to pester her, asking intrusive questions even when they came to know that she doesn't understand about what they are talking, and also she doesn't feel comfortable with their questions. But when their questions reached the limit of her patience, she finally burst out, asking them how they would feel if she did the same to them. And she moved to a different seat while the couples proved to be ignorant as to why their actions were wrong by saying talk about sensitive, which means they considered Carol as a very sensitive girl who was offended by their normal questions. So, children, let us read the story paragraph wise. Unit 3. So, what are you anyway? Carol settles in seat 12A beside the window, puts her doll on a vacant seat, and snaps open her purse. Snaps open her purse mean that she opens her purse with a sudden sharp sound. She holds up a mirror. She looks into her own dark eyes. She examines her handful of freckles, which are tiny spots dotting her cheeks. She checks for pimples but finds none. Only the clear complexion that her father calls milk chocolate. This is yours, I believe. A big man with a sunburned face is holding her doll upside down. May I have her, please? Carol says. He turns the doll right side up. A black doll. I never saw such thing. Her name's Amy. May I have her, please? Henry Norton, cries the man's wife. Give that doll back this instant. Carol tucks the doll close to the window. The man sits beside Carol. The woman takes the aisle seat. Don't mind him, the woman says, leaning towards Carol. By the way, I'm Betty Norton and he's my husband, Henry. The man next to Carol hogs the armrest. Hogs means to take or use most or all of something in an unfair way. An armrest is a padded arm of chair or seat on which a sitter can comfortably rest their arm. So, the man next to Carol hogs the armrest and he keeps looking at her. The stewardess passes by checking seat belts. Everything okay? Stewardess means woman employed to look after the passengers on a ship or craft. May I go to the bathroom? Carol asks. Do you think you could wait? We're about to take off. Okay. So, as I told you that Carol is a mixed young little girl of age around 11 or 12. She was alone by herself, relaxing in her seat A12 on the way to see her grandparents. She settled beside the window and kept her doll on a vacant seat beside her and opened her purse with a sudden sharp sound. She took out her mirror from the purse and looked at herself, at her face, examining her own dark eyes, freckles, and pimples, which reminds her of her father who called her milk chocolate. While she was looking at herself in the mirror, she heard a voice saying, This is yours, I believe. She saw a big man with a sunburned face and he was holding her doll upside down and asked if the doll was hers, as the vacancy beside her on which she kept her doll was his. Then Carol, wanting her doll back, asked him to return back the doll. To which the man responded that he never saw a black doll. Then Carol told him the name of the doll and again requested him to give her the doll. While the man was talking to Carol, his wife told him to return the doll to the girl at that very moment. Carol, after she got her doll, secured it near the window and the man and the woman sat beside her. The woman asked Carol not to mind her husband and then she introduced herself and her husband. Then the man next to Carol spreads his arm completely over the armrest and stared continuously at her. Then only a stewardess passed checking seat belts and Carol asked her if she could go to the bathroom. But stewardess asked her to wait as the plane was about to take off and Carol agreed to her. Carol looks out the window, sees the Toronto airport buildings fall behind and wonders if her parents are watching. Say goodbye, she instructs Amy, her doll, waving her doll's hand. Say goodbye to mom and dad. The engines charged to life. That means the engine started. Her seat hums. Hums means to make a low sound like that of bee. They taxi down the runway. She feels a hollowness in her stomach. Hollowness means feeling emptiness in her stomach. When they lift into the air, her ears plug and stay that way until the plane levels out over pillows of cotton. They burn as bright as the sun. So that is what the other side of the clouds look like. Excuse me, the man is talking to her. You can go to the bathroom now, you know. No, that's all right, Carol says. Traveling all alone, are you? Carol swallows with difficulty. Swallows with difficulty means a swallowing movement of throat as if swallowing something in nervousness. Where do you live? He asked. Don Mills. Oh, really? He says. Were you born there? Yes. And your parents? My mother was born in Chicago and my father was born in Tuscan. And you are going to visit your grandparents? She nods. And your parents let you travel alone? It's only an airplane ride and I'm a big girl. So, what happens next is, after talking to stewardess, Carol looked out of the window and watched the airport building leaving behind as the plane moved on the runway. She said to her doll to wave a goodbye to her mom and dad. So, as the engine of the plane started and it started to run on the runway, her seat made a humming sound. And as plane got lifted into the air, she felt emptiness in her stomach, and her ears were blocked till the plane reached its height over the clouds. She was mesmerized by the view of clouds upside. While she enjoyed the view outside the window, the man interrupted her, saying that she could use the bathroom. To which Carol replied that she was all right and she do not want to go. Then the man asked if she was traveling alone. Carol got nervous and made a movement in her throat as to swallow something. Then again, he asked Carol about her address, to which Carol replied that she lived in Don Mills. So again, the man asked her if she was born in Don Mills only. Carol said yes. Then he asked about her parents' birthplace, to which she answered that her mother was born in Chicago and her father was born in Tuscan. The man then asked her if she was going to visit her grandparents, and she nodded in yes. The man again asked her, in little shock, that how her parents let her travel alone, to which she proudly replied that it was just a plane ride and she was a grown up girl to take that ride alone. So the man lowers the back of his seat, chuckling. Chuckling means laughing quietly or inwardly. He was giggling at her reply. He whispers to his wife. No. Carol hears her whisper back. You ask her. Carol yawns, holds Amy's hand and goes to sleep. The clinking of silverware wakens her. Clinking means sharp ringing sound, and silverware is dishes or cutlery of silver. But she hears the man and woman talking about her, so she kept her eyes shut. I don't know Henry, says the woman. Don't ask me, ask her. I'm kind of curious, he says. Aren't you? Carol can't make out the woman's answer, but then she hears her say, I just can't see. It's not fair to children. I don't mind them mixed, but the world isn't ready for it. They're neither one thing nor the other. Henry, wake that child and see if she wants to eat. When the man taps her shoulder, Carol opens her eyes. I have to go to the bathroom, she says. So the man giggled at her reply that she was a grown up girl and lowered his back of the seat and starts whispering to his wife. Carol could hear the whisper of her wife saying no to something, and also she says him to ask Carol if he wants to know something about her. Here we can assume that the man might be asking her wife about the race of the Carol. Carol, by then holding her doll, Amy's hand, fell asleep. Then only the clinking of silver cutleries interrupted her sleep and she woke up. But still she could hear the couple talking about her. So she pretended her sleep. Again, Carol heard a woman saying that she didn't know anything and asked Carol about his question. The man then said to his wife that he was a bit curious, might be he was curious about Carol's race and asked her wife if she was not curious. His wife replied him something, but Carol couldn't hear that. But then again she heard the woman saying that his curiosity or questions were not fair to be asked to a kid. She added that she didn't mind anyone of mixed race. Mixed race means child of white and black parent. Here, at this point, we come to know about their curiosity. So, further she adds, but the world will not accept them. That is, the world was not ready to accept mixed race in this society, as they were neither of white race nor of black race. So, she puts all the blame to the society. But then she asked Henry, her husband, to wake Carol up and look if she was hungry. As soon as the man tapped Carol's shoulder, she opened her eyes and said that she wanted to go to the bathroom. But they're going to serve the meal, the man says. Henry, if she wants out, let her out. She's only a child. Carol grimaces. Grimaces means it is a facial expression of disgust or disapproval. She is definitely not a child. She is a young lady. Once in Yale, Carol realizes she has forgotten Amy. Henry Norton hands her the doll. There you go, and don't fall out of the plane now. There's a big hole down by the toilet. There's not, Carol says. There isn't any such thing. She heads down the aisle with an eye out just in case there is a hole after all. Coming out of the toilet, Carol finds the stewardess. Excuse me, miss, could I sit somewhere else? The woman frowns. Frowns means it is a facial expression indicating disapproval or displeasure. Why? I don't like the window. Is that it? Is that the only reason? Well, yes. Now, when she said that she wanted to go to the bathroom, the man replied that the meal was going to be served. Then his wife said to him that if she wants to go out, let her out, as she was just a child. Carol did not like what the woman said and gave a twisted expression on her face of disapproval. That she was not a child, she was a young lady. So she came out of her seat, and while she was in the aisle, she realized that she has forgotten her doll on the seat. But Henry Norton handed her the doll and ridiculed her not to fall out of the plane, as there was a big hole down by the toilet, to scare her. But Carol knew that he was making fun of her and was trying to scare her. So she showed her courage and said that there wasn't such thing in the toilet, and she walked towards toilet being alert in case there was something like that. When she came out of the toilet, she found stewardess and asked her if she could change her seat and sit somewhere else. To which the stewardess asked her why she wanted to change the place, giving an expression of disapproval. Carol said that she didn't like the window seat. The main reason was that she was irritated, she was annoyed and was fed up of the couple sitting beside her, and so she wanted to sit somewhere else away from them. So the stewardess asked her if that was the only reason, to which she replied, yes. So I hope you've understood the first half of the story, and the rest half of the story we'll discuss in the next video. Thank you.